live with another episode of BS Busters, and I'm joined by, well, my ace coon boon, my partner in crime, Kenoshi. Kenoshi, introduce yourself.
Yeah, it's Kenoshi Abominito, and a whole bunch of new computer stuff is coming out.
That's true. That's true. Intel finally said, wait a second. We've been making shit for years. Let me unzip my pants and show you what we're working with. Wow, that is impressive. People. Hey, man, I said this before any of this shit came out. Never count out Intel. They've been making hardware for years. Okay, if anyone had the infrastructure to come up with some impressive shit, Intel. And I was right. Experience counts for something. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, yeah, I'm glad to have you. So on tonight's cast, we're covering several topics. We're going to cover people getting mad about the wrong issues in gaming and pop culture. So we got to talk about that guy who leaked all that shit over in the UK. A 17-year-old in the UK hacked their shit. Rockstar, y'all don't spend money. Not only do you not spend money on proper port studios, for your legacy titles, you don't spend money on IT security either, do you? They just cheap out on everything. I bet if you go to the Rockstar headquarters, they're so cheap that if you go to the bathroom, they got that toilet paper that's in the Mondo roll, but you got to use half the damn roll to wipe your ass because it's so thin.
Yeah.
Like you go into the kitchen, you got to put a quarter in order to get a thing of coffee, like one of those coffee pods for the cold coffee maker. There's no free water bottles. No, you got to pay money for the water. That's all I'm saying. They're cheap. Yeah. So we'll talk about people getting mad about the wrong issues in gaming and pop culture. We're going to discuss the quote-unquote new console manufacturer in Valve and Steam, because the Steam Deck's been out for a while, and talk about how we think about it and where do we see if Valve can continue to support the Steam Deck and update it and all that shit. Where do you see this going in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Our final major topic will be in light of Cyberpunk 2077's new expansion and how that game has a burst of people playing it right now across multiple platforms with the new expansion coming out and all that type of stuff. And Edge Runners.
I was about to mention the anime that came out on Netflix. People like.
Yeah, I saw Edge Runners. It is fucking amazing. It's like, man, I wish that before the people at CD Projekt Red made Cyberpunk 2077, they had seen Edge Runners first.
Yeah.
But I'll get to that when we get to that topic. And we'll go over what other games we wish people would re-release, or, the games that came out and could have been better. Like, there was a real missed opportunity. And we'll finish it out with free topic and hot takes, or, otherwise known as unpopular opinions. But before we go any further, let's dive into it. The first topic, people getting mad about the wrong issues in gaming and pop culture. What brought this on is that I saw people getting mad about Halle Bailey, the young black girl who's been cast as Ariel in the live-action Little Mermaid remake. And some assholes are like, scientifically you can't have a dark-skinned mermaid because they live under the water, and you need melanin and sunlight in order to be dark-skinned. And I'm like, that's an interesting topic. What about the myriad of deep sea creatures that are dark skinned? And also, why are you trying to bring science into fucking fantasy, magic and shit?
And besides, if mermaids were real, they probably wouldn't look like that.
Oh, mermaids are real. They were manatees and dugongs. But you know what that means? The sailors were so horny for a woman that they saw a manatee. Now I have relatives who lived in Florida. I was born in Florida. I spent many a summer in Florida. I am very familiar with manatees. Could you imagine being so horny that you saw a manatee and you said, "Hey, that's a woman"?
Not not only just that, I don't even think it's just that. Also being deprived of nutrition, as well as that,
Uh,
that could be a problem. So you probably have hallucinations.
that
Um,
also. Oh no, go ahead. Sorry, Kanoshi. Go ahead. Sorry.
so so you would probably both be sexually deprived and also lacking certain nutrition because maybe you were
You got
on
scurvy.
T for a while. Yeah, and you started running low on supplies, so you start to hallucinate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The worst thing is that if you follow that train of logic, is that some sailor probably fucked a manatee or tried.
Yeah.
They
I mean,
tried to
people do
fuck a manatee.
people do all sorts of weird stuff.
I
I mean,
mean,
look at,
all I'm gonna say is this. I remember watching this skit from The Whitest Kids You Know, and like, and it was making fun of the whole mermaid thing, and, and this guy he brings in a manatee, like they have it wrapped up in a blanket, and the guy's like, "King, I bring you a mermaid," and and the king's like, "I don't think that's a mermaid." He's like, "Oh yeah," and he takes his hand and he sticks it in the blanket because they couldn't actually get a real manatee, so they just got another person in the troop and wrapped them in a gray blanket and painted their face gray. He's like, "Hey." Well, I'm totally finger banging this mermaid, and the guy's like, that's not like the king's like that's not a mermaid. That's
What did I
clearly
walk
not a mermaid.
into?
What?
What did I walk into?
Oh no, I was just talking about. We were just talking about how people were getting mad about
Ariel.
the Ariel, them casting a black character as a mermaid, and we
Ah,
talked about the historical belief is that what sailors called mermaids back in the day weren't actually mermaids. They were actually manatees and dugongs.
oh.
So, and the thing is, I've seen a dugong, like like videos of dugongs, and I've seen manatees because I used to live in Florida. And I tell you right now, there is no way on God, like you'd have to be brain damaged to look at a manatee and say, yeah, that might be a woman,
Yeah, that's crazy.
because no. But that just proves that human beings will try and have sex with anything if they're desperate enough.
Oh god.
If they are desperate enough. But anyway, so the topic we're covering is people getting mad about the wrong issues. For example, I was going to say instead of getting mad about Halle Bailey, the young girl the young lady, she's like 23, the young lady who is being essentially attacked because she's playing Ariel. I'm like, they should be instead be worried about okay, like all of the Disney Renaissance films, like most of Disney's animated films are also musicals. And most of the live action remakes have been shit because the music was trash.
yeah.
Well, I like the live action remakes,
Really?
but
Let me.
yeah, I like
Which ones?
all of them have their own artistic style. I liked Lion King. I kind of liked Aladdin.
Mm-hmm.
I found the Final Battle in the cartoon one to be a little cooler.
All right. Well, let me ask you a question. Now, I was about to say something like I was about. I had a retort on my lips, and I realized the Lion King is one of the few where the music, while not as good as the original, is still in its own unique way is not up to par, but it's decent. And
Yeah.
I would say Aladdin though, like Will Smith is a shitty genie.
Uh,
He's like if you compare him to Robin Williams
oh,
from the '90s, like that Aladdin, his version of the genie is terrible.
maybe. Um, I'm. I'll stop Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, Beauty and the
That
Beast.
was
I couldn't. Yeah, that movie was not. The music wasn't as good as the original animated film.
yeah.
So I was like, They messed up the theme song of Beauty and the Beast, which I don't know. How do you make a live action remake of a film and mess up the core theme song? And they did. So I don't know. But, that makes you happy. But my point is this. If you're going to do a remake of a musical, the music has to be on point.
I see now.
You get what I'm saying? Like if they did a movie version of Hamilton, a Broadway musical, the music would have to be on point with the Broadway musical. You couldn't do a live action remake of Hamilton like a movie and then be like, "Oh, well, the music sucks." Compared to the original. And that's like, for me, that's the problem with a lot of the live action Disney remakes, is that the music is not very good. Like they did Cinderella. If you're gonna do Cinderella, then I need to hear Bippity Boppity Boo.
Oh.
That's
Wasn't
one of
there
the.
a few other live action remakes besides?
Oh, there was first they did Cinderella, which was terrible. Then they did Beauty and the Beast. No, first they did Jungle Book. Now, here's the thing: Jungle Book was missing a lot of the. Yeah, Jungle Book was missing a lot of the songs from the original. Like it didn't have Bare Necessities. It didn't have I Want to Be a Man Like You. From King Louis. Like most of the music was missing in that movie. But they thought they could make it up by having Idris Elba voice Shere Khan. And I was like, eh. Like here's where we will diverge, because I think most of the live action remakes have been trashed. I'm like, if you're not going to add something interesting, I don't care.
But the live action itself is the interesting part.
Not really, because all of it's CGI. So technically, it's just they just reanimated it in CG instead of hand drawn animation, which is what a lot of it was back in the day.
Looks like trash.
I mean, it for a lot of it for me was Uncanny Valley. I'm like, why do these look like real lions, but they're talking? Like they would have done better doing what they did back in the day with kids films where they had talking animals, like the movie The Adventures of Milo and Otis, where the animals were just doing stuff and then they talked, but they weren't saying anything. It was just you heard their thoughts and how they communicated with each other. I would have rather had that than seeing a lion's mouth move like it's talking. Like that's weird to me. I'm like, that just looks odd. That's such a terrible. To me, that just was like a really bad. It was off-putting. It was discomfiting. I just felt it. Like, have you ever seen something in a movie where you can like? Has anyone here seen the live action Cats?
No,
but I've seen.
Have you seen stills of it?
Yeah.
Where the cats look weird because you realize that these are human-sized people, but they make everything large around them, make them look like they're cats. But here's the thing, right? Like these people are all svelte, but it's like it doesn't fit because there's other anatomic details that are missing. Like you have female cats with no nipples. Let me tell you something about cats. Female cats. If you have a female cat and she's rolling on her stomach and her belly's out, she's gonna have nipples because they're mammals. No nipples. Anyone here who's owned a cat or has a friend who owns a cat knows that when cats walk away, they got that tail sticking up and that asshole's winking at you. You have a movie about cats that are prowling. No cat assholes. No male cat, no tomcats fighting each other over a female in heat. Now, yeah, it's
remake Bambi, and
what?
There's a nice remake Bambi.
Yeah, they can do that. It's probably going to be terrible, but they can try.
So you're saying all you need to do is make the music better, right?
No, I would say spend your time and like. Here's the thing: Disney doesn't want to take a risk and make something new, so they'd rather just keep on going over shit that people remember. Except here's the thing. There are movies that I say 100% that Disney did that I think they should totally do a remake of. Like Lilo and Stitch. Do a remake of that. Do a remake of Tarzan. Do a remake of Hercules. Now that would be fucking amazing. If they did a remake of Hercules and then when they call the muses in, they just have like a real black choir up there singing, because that's what they did in the original. Like the muses were all black choirs singing Hercules. Like a zero to hero. Yeah, do that. Like there's movies that totally I'm like, Disney, remake that. Nah. We gotta remake stuff that really should be left the fuck alone. Like Pinocchio. They remade Pinocchio. But here's the thing. What's the whole point? Let me ask you guys a question. What is the whole point of Pinocchio?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Kanoshi, what is the whole point of Pinocchio?
Isn't that the point of essentially a man who doesn't have a son created a son?
Okay, let
me
me narrow the question. The whole
I guess the toy world? I don't know.
okay, you've never seen Pinocchio, so I won't ask you, Kirby. Okay, if someone asked you what is the entire point of the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope, it is they're trying to they're trying to save the galaxy by destroying a super weapon created by a fascist government regime. Okay, so if someone asked you what is the point of Pinocchio, it's about a puppet wanting to become a real boy.
Oh, okay.
Right, Kanoshi?
Yeah.
Okay. Guess what they don't show in the new Pinocchio movie?
I don't know.
Okay, then. I'll do a little word association. If the point, well, I mean, you don't have to see it because once I ask you this question, I'm using the Socratic method, you will figure out why I'm mad and why I'm saying it's a travesty. If the point of Pinocchio, both the book that it's based on, well, it was a series of short stories that once you tied it all together, it became a novel. Kind of like how Charles Dickens wrote his books and Mark Twain too. If the point of Pinocchio is about a puppet learning life lessons and then becoming a boy, a real boy, and even in the movie, Pinocchio starts out as a wooden puppet and then by the end of the movie, he becomes a real boy. And yet, I said in the live action movie, they couldn't even get that right. The whole point of the movie fails. Now remember, the point of Pinocchio is that he starts out as a puppet and by the end of it, he becomes a real boy. So if the live action remake fucks up the entire point of the movie, what did they miss?
Apparently the puppet becoming a real boy.
Ding! Give the man an A. You're right. You don't even get it doesn't even turn into a real boy at the end of the movie. It just ends.
If there's any new Disney movies I like, it's Frozen.
Are you serious?
It had no twist, you know? I mean,
You seriously like Frozen? That's it. That's
Yeah.
your.
it's like better than. Okay, I'm just kidding. They're all
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm like, seriously? I mean, look, I know people who like Frozen. I'm not one of them because I just felt it was kind of. Frozen wasn't terrible. It's just you want to know what ruined Frozen for me? Even though I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never seen Frozen. But what ruined me from not wanting to see it is because there was so much marketing for it and hearing fucking let it go so much that it soured me on it before I like, because normally I don't mind going to watch a kid-friendly animated film. But Frozen, I was like, nah, it ain't happening. Yeah. My favorite Disney animated films are I'm going way back. I like Cinderella, I like Sleeping Beauty, I like Snow White, I like The Jungle Book. Ironically, I never liked Winnie the Pooh.
Uh, I
Like
thought it was okay.
like old school Winnie the Pooh. I never liked Winnie the Pooh. I never liked Peter Pan. I never liked any of those two animations. Um, I like the Jungle Book. I like Robin Hood, the one where they were anthropomorphic animals.
Okay, I'll stop.
Yeah, I like that one. Because Disney at that time just kept on reusing a lot of the same animations. So like there's a lot of animations that you saw in Jungle Book was also used in Robin Hood. I liked let's see what else. Shit. Sword in the Stone. That was pretty good. I liked I already said the Jungle Book. I liked then you had the dead time when Disney's animation kind of went down. I never liked Oliver and Company, and I didn't like the Aristocats. I didn't like that one. Let's see what else. What else did I like? Then when the Disney Renaissance came, I liked Little Mermaid, although Ursula scared the shit out of me. I think Ursula scared the shit out of everyone.
Yeah.
Like everyone got scared. I was like, oh shit. Yeah.
I mean,
No, go ahead, Kirby.
funny thing, Little Mermaid was one of the first Disney movies I saw. I'm not sure if I saw that or Lion King first,
Hmm.
but
Ursula scared you, huh?
well, no, she didn't scare me. I didn't really remember too much about it.
Oh, okay. You probably too
But
young.
I
Well,
liked the mermaid, you know. I liked the Under the Sea song. I liked.
yeah. The music in Disney animated films have almost always been really good, except for when they hit that dead period where they like were doing weird shit. Um, yeah, I like the Disney Renaissance movies. I like The Little Mermaid. I like Aladdin. I like shit. I'm missing Beauty and the
What about
Beast.
Maleficent and Sleeping Beauty?
What?
What about Maleficent and Sleeping Beauty?
I like the original. I don't like Maleficent.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I like Angelina Jolie as an actor. I don't like Disney like making these fucking movies where they try to make you feel sorry for villains.
oh.
Cause they're like, you should feel sorry for Maleficent because she had her rings cut off by an evil person. It's like, never mind, this bitch fucking tried to kill people and put people to sleep and destroyed the entire kingdom, killed tons of innocent people because she was mad. I'm like, for real? Like, that's what you get? And then they're like, no, like, I mean, they did the same thing with that Cruella de Vil movie, where they're like, well, actually, Cruella de Vil was actually, her parents were murdered by Dalmatians. I'm like, what? This is stupid. Yeah. Yeah.
Let it go.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Let it go.
I mean, the thing is, it only works if the villain had some sort of redeeming quality in the sense that they had some kind of flaw that
Yeah.
just couldn't get over. But
Yeah,
these villains didn't have any redeeming qualities.
Well, the thing is,
Like, what's the point?
Cruella de Vil, what made her such a great villain is that she was just unrepentantly just a bitch. That's it.
Yeah.
Cruella de Vil is a bitch, and that's what made her fun. Like, that's why when her best friend, quote unquote, her best friend's husband makes that song, from the original 101 Dalmatians, Cruella de Vil, Cruella de Vil. It's like you're down with it because she's a bitch, and he's like, I'm gonna get paid writing a diss track about this bitch over here. I mean,
101 Dalmatians, is that an original Disney property?
it was based on a book. See, here's the thing about Disney.
Oh,
Disney, all the shit that they do is based on other people's work, but they put their own spin on it, where their shit supersedes everyone else's shit. Like Sleeping Beauty. No, what were you gonna say, Kirby?
Did you ever read the original Little Mermaid?
Yeah, the original Little Mermaid is terrifying because at the end of the story, she doesn't get to. She doesn't get to. She basically she gets. She basically at the end of it, like there's two versions, but both of them suck because in the first one she just dies, and in the second one
Does she
She
go to heaven?
no, she just dies. Like it just ends with her dying. In the alternate version, she like in the book in the Grimm Brothers Grimm version. In the second version, what happens is that she's basically told that she can eventually become human and get legs, but by basically completing like 100 years of good deeds. But if she doesn't do that, she'll eventually die anyway. Like just spontaneously just die. Basically, what I'm saying is this: like the Disney-fied version of these fairy tales are nicer than the Grimm's version of these fairy tales. Because even the ones in the Brothers Grimm that had happy endings, the ending is like fuck. Like, you want to know what happens to the Wicked Witch in Sleeping Beauty?
What?
Once the kingdom is brought back and everyone gets back, they find the Wicked Witch and they make her wear, or the evil queen. They make her, they take shoes made out of iron and they put them in the fire till they're red hot, and they make her stick her feet in them and dance away while her feet are being burnt and
Oh.
yeah, yeah.
And these are like supposed to be fairy tales for children.
No, well, yeah. These are fairy tales told to children. I mean, they're German fairy tales. You have to remember, German fairy tales are metal as fuck.
Oh wow.
Yeah, German fairy tales don't fuck around. This shit where like where shit's all like German fairy tales are like, god damn, that's terrifying. Yes, in Germany, everything kill you.
Well, the thing about especially their language is pretty
It's very glottal.
rough. Yeah.
It's very glottal and what, which is amazing because English is a Germanic language. English is closer to German than it is to any other language. Um,
Mm.
yeah. Anyway, we went off on a tangent, but tangents are always fun. So the big question is, what issue do you think people are mad about in gaming, where they're completely missing a bigger issue that they should be getting pissed about, and they're saying nothing about it? And I'll let you go first, Kirby, since you came in a little bit towards the end.
Well, some. I guess too many people are mad that video games are too easy when they should be getting mad about other things, like either games being broken or games being like it depends on what they do with the easiness, as opposed to like just making it easy and fun.
That's fair. That's fair. Um, Kenoshi?
Um, there's a lot of things to choose from. I think people get too obsessed over power and not over the mechanics of the game. Like,
All right.
they'll talk about the power of a console or get obsessed with the power of a console, the power of it, but they won't talk about the because a lot of these games that come out that have good graphics have fundamentally
Flawed gameplay.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So in summation, for you, Kirby, you're essentially saying that people get mad about the difficulty of a game, whether it's too easy or too hard, instead of how that difficulty is being implemented. So, for example, the way I would think about it is, like you play an RPG, like let's say an open world action RPG. I'm gonna use Breath of the Wild as an example, even though it's not really an RPG. Breath of the Wild's difficulty kind of stinks because if you play it on heroic difficulty or legendary, whatever the highest difficulty is, instead of like making enemies fight smarter or call for backup or have tactics that seem like the AI is better, more capable, more dangerous. They just make enemies into bullet sponges. I mean, into
Uh,
tanks. Yeah, so it's like, oh, I went through like 8 swords fighting one Lionel. It's like, you know, and that to me that seems like a shitty way to implement difficulty, and that's not just a Breath of the Wild issue. You play a lot of games. Their way to basically amp up difficulty isn't to make enemies tougher in terms of like making them hit harder or making them have better tactics or anything like that. It's just, oh, we'll just make them have 50% more health or 80% more health.
Wait, but I have a question. Are there any games that do the difficulty rate where they make the enemies more smarter
Yeah,
and wait,
ironic.
that's right, Kirby's Dreamland that happened.
Well, ironically, there are games from back in the 16-bit and like in the fourth and fifth gen where the difficulty, when the difficulty went up, enemies just got smarter. Like they were more, either that or they were more aggressive. Basic small things that made the game more that made you feel like, oh wait, this is better. Not just, oh, they have more health now. They're more of a tank. Like one of the things that I think kind of brings Earthbound down a little bit, as far as an RPG, is that like as you get further in the game, some enemies just become like more tankier instead of using different attacks or stuff like that, and it gets kind of annoying. The best example I think is Lord Barf versus Lord Belch, where he just becomes very tanky. But yeah, and Kenoshi, you're basically saying people get caught up on performance and not on power and not how that power is being used.
Yeah.
And
What do you
from
mean by that, Kenoshi?
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 What were you gonna say?
No, Kirby just asked, what did you mean by that? By people being upset with people harping on power and like this console or this PC build is more powerful than that PC build, and not how that power is being used.
Oh, like they'll talk about. Oh, this game looks good, or like this the physical aspects of this game look really good, but they won't they won't discuss the the mechanics of the game. The game might actually be broken. I mean, they've been doing a lot more lately, but it seems like back in the past they weren't talking about like how some of these games are just fundamentally broken.
I agree. And games will come out broken and no one will say anything about it. It's like, well, they'll fix it later. It's like, no! I'm looking at you, Bethesda.
You know, it'd be funny. If I was a kid in school and I discovered that that games are broken, and I just told my teacher like if I don't get my homework done, I'm like, I don't have to get my homework done. I'll just fix it later. The date will be this day. And it's like 3 weeks in advance or like a month later.
You know, I know you're saying that as an example, but there are certain courses where that actually makes sense. Like if you're writing, right, and you write a paper, let's say you write like a 10-page paper, and you know grammatically it's correct, but it could be tighter, and you turn it in early.
Oh,
Some teachers will say, "Hey, I'm going to give this back to you. You know, I've marked areas where it could be better.
oh yeah,
Rewrite
that,
it, and I might give you a higher grade." But like that's writing. Writing is a continuous process. It gets better. This is not a commercial unless you're a professional writer, which there are some people who will release, because I have Amazon Unlimited. I mean Kindle Unlimited. Okay. I have gotten books on Amazon where whoever the fuck edited those books was sleeping on the job. I'm talking misspellings, typos. The shit is written in a, oh god, so very unprofessional. And like I'm like, and then I go later and they're like, oh, we edited it, and I'm like, how you didn't edit this shit before you submitted it to a publisher? What the fuck is this shit? Yeah, I get what you're saying. But if you did that with your math, and where it's like, hey, do this math, do these 50 problems on pages 143 to 145. Do all 50. Do all the even things. There's like 100 things, so you do 50. Do every even numbered problem, and you basically do like half. You do like 25. You're like, yeah, I'll get the other ones later. It don't work like that.
Oh yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Wasn't there like two developers that said interesting quotes? Like one said it just works, and another said it's better than nothing. I think better than nothing was like my number 9, and now
Yeah, it wasn't the developer. It was the guy who was the translator for Keiji Inafune. Yeah.
Translation error.
And no, it wasn't even translation error. The translator just said that at the end of the sentence. Like, Keiji Inafune didn't say it. And he was like, in my opinion, it's like, at least you're getting something because that's better than nothing. Like, the thing is that what he said was not actually incorrect. Because if you have a game that's in bad shape and people are still working on to patch it to make it more playable, that is better than nothing. The problem is that people were mad, and he should have just shut the fuck up. He said the right thing at the wrong time. Get what I'm saying? It Just Works was Theodore Howard, aka Todd Howard, the big guy at Bethesda. He was he was talking about I think it was
Fallout 76.
No, it was Fallout 4.
Oh.
No, it was Fallout 76. He was talking about how like you could basically build shit up. He's like, yeah, it just works. And then, yeah, we're going to have a beta because sometimes shit doesn't just work. And then the beta came out, and it wasn't really a beta. They were testing the servers to make sure that the servers wouldn't buckle under the weight of people playing the damn game. And what they came out with was a monstrosity that was a steaming pile of dog shit. But, it's Bethesda. Bethesda is a special place.
Say, don't you have bones?
That was Blizzard when they announced Diablo Immortal.
Oh,
they were like, because they had BlizzCon and people were like, oh, so this means they're gonna announce the next Diablo game, and they were like, no, it's a mobile game, and that's like here's what that's the equivalent of, okay? Going up to the rabid fans of Diablo and basically saying that you're coming out with a mobile phone game is the equivalent of Nintendo saying, okay guys, we're gonna have a direct that's all about our next bit of hardware, right? And the guy comes out and he says, here's my announcement, I just farted, and then walks off stage. Like, that's basically what you just that's basically, I farted, and then walks off stage. That's basically what they did to the gamers of Diablo. Because the thing is, PC gamers who have franchises that they love, they get really fucking hung up on those franchises. Like, you don't believe me? There are some people who are still playing Halo 2 right now. There are people who are still playing Halo 3 right now. There are people who every few years will go and dig up their stuff and go play Doom again. I don't mean Doom 2016. I mean the original Doom.
Oh, how can you versus Doom on PC?
Yeah, they'll pull it out, re-upload it. I mean, download it again, install it, and play it again because they like that shit that much.
Is it on Steam or is it
well, I think it used to be on Bethesda.net. I think there's other places where you can get it. There's some people who still have the digital code, the digital version, the downloaded digital version of Doom. Plus, there's other ways that you can get Doom. I think there's like homebrew. There's things there's downloads where they reverse engineered the Doom source code for more modern coding engines, so you can play it on more modern builds without having to use a form of DOS to emulate it. So, my point is this. PC gamers are really hardcore about their franchises. And for you to go up there and tell them, hey, we're announcing some shit that 95% of the people who love this shit don't care about. and then they're surprised that they got a negative reaction. I'm like, I can't believe you're surprised. Y'all should have just had like a little side announcement for that shit, and then had some fruit, some meat and potatoes for the people who were there. Because you don't buy a ticket to go to BlizzCon if you aren't a hardcore Blizzard IP fan. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
Okay. Anyway, that's enough about that. Let's move on to the next topic. The Steam Deck's doing pretty well. Valve hasn't released any numbers, but they're still supporting it, so it must be doing better, well enough. So my question is this: with the Steam Deck coming out and doing well, where do you like? And you know, a lot of copycat hardware manufacturers are releasing things like a Steam Deck, but not quite. Um, in effect, Valve has become a new console manufacturer, up there with Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft. So, with that being said, where do you see Valve going with their hardware in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Kanoshi, I'll let you go first since you're a PC guy.
Well, first, Valve, they should just take their time, not do not be too crazy with it or anything. Um, with their hardware, because a lot of these other companies, um, the problem with companies like iNeo, like let's see who else is out there. iNeo's the big one. There's also some other companies. They also make handheld gaming PCs. They've been making handheld gaming PCs even even before Valve jumped into the game.
Yeah, but they were
And
prohibitively expensive.
they were more expensive and they
Yeah.
came out more often. They
Yep.
came out way too often, and there's going to possibly be a crash. And I think Valve will be the only survivor as long as they take their time and they're not too crazy about it.
Well, to be fair, Valve's going to be able to pull it off because Valve, they aren't like if the Steam Deck bombed spectacularly, Valve will still be able to make and release stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Honestly, it's a if they treat it more like a console in the sense of you know uh, coming out maybe or even like a even smartphone. They come out with a new one or a brand new iteration like every 2 to 3 years. I think that'll be a lot. It'll be a lot better, and you won't feel completely ripped off. And as long as they keep supporting their previous generations of Steam Decks for a little bit, even after the new one comes out,
Mm-hmm.
they'll do pretty good. They have, of course, they have the Steam infrastructure, but it's just, they just like Ioneo just released the Ioneo Air Pro, and now they're releasing another one in December. It's just like, come on, guys, just slow down, take your time. You make a relatively well, made product. You're, but you're gonna create a lot of confusion, and you're gonna make people be like, you know, it's like, well, I just got ripped off because I bought this one, and then I got this one that they just announced, and now I have to wait next month. Next month they announce a new better version. It's like, okay,
Yeah. And they don't have the infrastructure to support the shit anyway, so why do you keep on re-releasing stuff?
yeah.
It's weird. Also annoying, but mostly weird. Um, so I guess it's uh I don't know. You have any thoughts about it, Pokey? Kirby? Sorry. Kirby? Curbster?
I'm here. Let's see. Not really.
Okay, I guess it's my turn to give my thoughts. Here's what I think. I think that it's good that you have competition. I think that it's good you have other companies getting into releasing hardware and people having options. I think the more options you have, the better it is. I think it would have been great if, I mean, legitimately a great thing if Sega had stayed in the console business and I think it would have been great had they stayed in the console business and you know, not left because the more options people have, the better it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
where
agree.
people always make, like, people get caught up on my console manufacturer, this, that, and the other. But the more options you have, the better it is. Because we have options, you have other places to play games. Because we have options, because PC is such a huge market and there's competition, we're getting installments of different types of games that the companies who own the IPs of these original games, like spiritual successor to games, they aren't doing shit with. Like, let's keep it real. We haven't had a Paper Mario game, like a really good Paper Mario game, in years.
Yeah.
Years. But
And
people
there's a
who,
lot of developers that are making paper games.
yeah, but you have people who are making paper style games who, because they grew up with those games, they're like, man, I really like this game, but they're not getting made, so we got to do something. There's an underserved market out there that is desperate for, a Paper Mario style game, and we're not getting it. So, what are we to do? Someone, look, if there's a niche that's not being fulfilled, someone's gonna fill that niche.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use a kind of a rough and tumble analogy, but if you have a girlfriend and your girlfriend is not happy and you being an asshole, somebody gonna make her happy. If you won't,
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to put it that. People gonna get mad when you say that. Like, oh, don't say that. It's like, come on, y'all know it's true. Like, I mean, and you can apply this to anything. If you go to a grocery store where they never have ripe food, everything's always jacked up, and
Oh God.
yeah, you go there, the food's always messed up, nothing's ever what it needs to be.
Maggots.
You'll find some place who'll take care. You will find someone who will do you right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I also think Atari should have stayed in the console business, but if they made the right decision.
I cannot. I cannot go with that one. I'm sorry. Atari had a chance. Atari had multiple chances, and they just kept on messing up. So I can't be like, well, Atari, you know, because think about it. They Atari messed up with the 5200. They messed up with the 7600. I mean, the 7800. They messed up with the with their PC line. Like, Atari was just constantly getting chances and messing up. So it was like I think there should be multiple options, but if you just keep on messing up, it's like at a certain point I got to be like, look, I can't, I can't keep on supporting this. you know, because how many times can you give a company a chance? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's just my own personal opinion. I could be wrong. So for me, the big thing that's basically getting me by in terms of gaming, the thing where I'm just like, okay, this could be better. I hope it does get better. Is I'm personally like what I want to see in the next 2 years. I want to see, you know, uh, you know, I'm okay with Valve releasing revisions to their Steam Deck, but not like huge power leaps. I think in 5 years they will probably do a major revision that's going to have some real power behind it. I think that I think after that, what we'll probably see is this is just my own little supposition. I think we'll see a major. I think in 10 years, I think if we're lucky, the Steam Deck will continue to be a thing, and they might even upgrade it to something even bigger than that. But that's my own personal opinion. I could be wrong. And I think that's good. I think that if people have the option of being able to play really graphically demanding games on the go, it it's gonna force competition. Even though people like to say, oh, if you're a Nintendo fan or any hype type of handheld, oh well, they're not competing. Yeah, they're all competing against each other because it's people spending their money. All right, everyone's spending their money. Okay, and like people have a certain amount of money to spend on things, and if someone can spend less money and get the same amount of whatever, that's what they'll do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of competition, I wish Nintendo would make a VR console like that was VR on the side.
Like the good Virtual Boy, like the Virtual Boy, but good.
Yes, like the Oculus Quest or something. Have very unique virtual reality stuff. I mean, I know he made Labo, but like,
yeah, Labo felt like a gimmick that they wanted people to that they just wanted to get some extra money in, and they were like, if we slap Nintendo on it, people will buy it. But I was just like, for me, when I saw Labo, I'm like, you are selling people a $70 thing of just toys. I mean, of cardboard. And I couldn't get behind that. I was like, you're selling me like expensive cardboard. But that's just me.
Yeah, that would be fun. They call it Virtual Boy Excellence. And it was actually like an Oculus Quest type thing.
All right. But what do you think, Kadoshi? Agree, disagree? Yay or nay?
Yeah, I agree. I agree that we probably should, not to make super high power leaps, and also just to not get too ridiculous with how many they come out with a year.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. Because, Valve has been really good about how they've been running their stuff. Like, much better than like, Valve on paper should be trash, and yet they are much better than they have any business being. So, I'm like, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
I know some people will disagree, but I just have a feeling that they know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
I could be wrong though. I'm just a dude. Run a business, but that's a different thing. My business is only tangentially related to like gaming.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess we can move on to the next topic. Unless you guys have anything you want to add. Yay, nay.
Next topic.
All right. I guess I'm gonna add this in because I completely forgot it. What do you guys think about that guy who leaked all that shit about GTA?
Wow. He must be a smart guy.
I mean, it was a 17-year-old kid, so I don't know how smart he was, but I do know
No,
that.
he must have been like highly technical and highly advanced. How did he
I
leak it? Like, did he just? What did his dad work for?
he was a 17-year-old kid.
Rockstar?
I don't think he was working for Rockstar. What I think is that Rockstar cheaped out on their whoever does their IT security. They went with the cheapest person they could find. I'm wagering.
Oh wow!
I
And the
mean,
leaks were true.
well, I mean, considering that they called the FBI to find out
Oh
who hacked them, I mean, you don't call the FBI for a might be not be true. You know what I mean?
oh okay, dang.
So
Well,
I
even
think a lot of that stuff was true.
dang. I really hope the graphics are better than they were in GTA 5.
I mean, personally, I don't really care about the graphics that much for GTA. For me, the most fun GTAs I ever played did not have the best graphics. Like GTA Vice City and San Andreas looked like shit, but I still enjoy them more than the stuff that looks great these days. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, like, for me,
You don't like GTA 5 that much?
the more realistic the graphics get for me for the GTA franchise, the shittier the games get. Like GTA 4 had much better graphics than Vice City and San Andreas, but to me, 4 kind of sucked. Uh, and 5 was even worse. So, everyone has their own, everyone has their own, like, how they feel about it.
Yeah.
But for me, yeah, I thought it was trash.
Okay.
I mean, I thought it was hot buttered trash in terms of some of the games they've come out with. But, to each his own, you know.
Do you always like Red Dead Redemption 2?
I did not like Red Dead Redemption.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a. Here's the thing. I am not a huge. I'm not a huge. I'm not a huge. I'm not a Red Dead fan. I've never liked Red Dead.
Oh.
Like the best. The best Red Dead I've ever. The best Red Dead I like is the one that originally first came out. The one that was from Capcom.
Oh.
Yeah. Because don't forget, like, Rockstar bought that IP. It originally was a Capcom game where it was just like you went through levels, you caught bounties, and that was it. Like the Rockstar Red Dead is trying too hard and failing at it, in my opinion.
Oh.
But that's my own personal opinion. To each his own. If you like the original Red Dead, like to me, Red Dead Redemption was boring as hell. Like I felt like I was playing a like to me the Red Dead 1 and 2 felt like I was playing a long and involved RPG.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like I was watching a really long, boring western.
Oh.
And here's the thing, I love westerns. Westerns are some of my favorite things, but that Red Dead, those Red Dead games were just not good for me. I was like, this is boring.
Oh. Wasn't. Did you like that one Western movie? Where this girl is trying to find her father's killer? I forget what it's called.
You mean
True Grit.
True Grit? Yeah. I mean, actually I did, but that one was the Coen brothers. Joel and Ethan Coen did that, and the Coen brothers, I like almost everything they do. But the reason I liked that movie was because it had humor to it. Like there was comedy to it. So when you got to the parts of the movie where it's like, shit, that's really violent, it's like, yeah, but they kind of deadened it with a little bit of humor. You know? Whereas Red Dead, like, both of the Red Dead video games are just so fucking boring. Like okay, I'll give you the difference between a GTA game and a Red Dead game. Okay, like GTA 5, I don't think is great, but I can get in my car and turn on the radio and listen to music in GTA 5. I can go and do side activities that are engaging and interesting.
Oh.
What can you do in Red Dead if you're bored? Not much.
Just imagine if someone like took all your video games and replaced them all with the Red Dead game.
Yeah, I just stopped playing video games if that happened. The good news is that I can always read because I'm also a bibliophile. I like books. So, I have other options. But if all I had to play was Red Dead 1 and 2, I just stopped playing video games because that game is boring as fuck to me. I'm like, I've never been so bored before.
Wow, okay.
And them saying, "Oh no, it's good." I'm like, I don't think it is. I don't think you understand what good means, but that's just me. Anyway, yeah, but yeah, for me, I think that ultimately what's going to happen is that kid's probably going to get sentenced to some. He's probably gonna get sentenced to jail or maybe get some type of fine. And I suspect, I can't prove this, but I suspect that what's going to happen is that, and this is just my own little supposition. I could be wrong. But what I suspect is going to happen with him is he's probably going to get probation and probably get something where he can't use a computer.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're like, oh, well, you can't use a computer. That's what I suspect.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, can't blame the victim. I mean, some people are probably saying, oh, they just chose to go with the cheapest IP, it's their fault. But, like, no.
I mean, I'm kind of in both camps because I'm like, here's the thing. It's like when NVIDIA and AMD got hacked. I'm like, how the fuck does a company that everything is built around your intellectual property, how the fuck do you not have better internet security for your shit? Like, I don't understand that. It's like, yeah. It's like if someone breaks in your house, right? Like, if someone breaks in your house, I'm not going to blame you as the victim. Like, why was your door locked? Because even if you leave your door wide open, a thief shouldn't be able to shouldn't just walk into your house and steal your shit because you left your door open. You know what I mean? But I'm also going to ask, why didn't you lock your door? You know what I mean? Like, both questions have to be asked, if you get what I'm saying.
I see.
You understand? Like, I can't just be like, well, Rockstar. And plus, like I said, like, if this was the only controversy that existed with Rockstar, I would say, well, maybe it's a thing. But for some reason, we keep on seeing a trend of Rockstar cheaping out on shit where you shouldn't be cheaping out on.
Yeah.
Like, we keep on seeing a trend of them spending money on things that they shouldn't be that they should be spending money on. And no one says anything about it. Like, no one's saying, "Hey, man, why are you not?" Like, they spent a relentlessly low amount of money on what was it? What did they spend like a ridiculously low amount of money on? They spent a ridiculously low amount of money on the remake of their GTA trilogy,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the game that made them what they are. When you think Rockstar, you think GTA, the GTA trilogy. Those are the games that made Rockstar what they are. They spent the least amount of money they possibly could on those games. They got a studio that made shitty ports of those games onto consoles years ago, who only had 21 to 24 people working at the damn studio. And then they acted surprised that the remake was shit. It's like, oh, I can't believe this sucked. It's like, really? So if you're cheap like that on your major shit, like the shit that made you who you are, then I mean, come on, man. What am I to think when a 17-year-old kid, a 17-year-old kid who apparently was able to hack them. Do you know what I was doing at 17?
What are you doing?
I was playing video games and trying to get laid.
Oh.
Like most 17-year-olds. Okay? I was going to school, playing video games, worrying about maintaining my GPA so I could get into a good college, playing video games and trying to get laid. That's what I was doing at 17. You know what this kid was doing at 17? Apparently hacking a multi-billion-dollar company who apparently did not have good internet protection.
Oh yeah, it reminds me of that one time when this one guy in his mid-20s brought New Super Mario Bros. Wii early and put a playthrough on YouTube.
Yeah, but that's not on them. That's whoever sold them the shit not doing.
Yeah.
They broke the street date. Because I've gotten games early before it officially came out because they just didn't fucking care. I know people are going to get mad, but I'm not going to be like, how dare you want to play the game that you spent money on? It's like,
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get to the next topic. In light of Cyberpunk 2077's new expansion, apparently an Edge Runners came out and gave new life to that game. What are some games that you think that came out where you played it and you're like, this could have been better?
Oh yeah, I know.
Go ahead.
The Star Wars Episode 2 game.
The Stars of what?
Double Dragon 3.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that
Star Wars Episode 2 on the Game Boy Advance. Like, I remember it was like 2002, I was like really into Star Wars, and I was like thinking, oh my god, I can't wait to play a game tomorrow. I play, and I was like, oh,
this is terrible. Yeah.
Mario game.
Was this Star Wars 2?
Yes.
Empire Strikes Back?
No, this was Attack of the Clones.
Oh yeah. That game is bad. Yeah.
Fortunately, Episode 3 on PS2 was good.
It was better. I won't say it was good, but it was better than 2, yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and that was weird because, like, for a long time, Star Wars games were guaranteed to be at least decent. You know?
Yeah. Well,
But
and in Double Dragon 3, it's like I ended up playing Double Dragon game, but like I felt like the game was way too hard.
yeah, because that game was the original microtransaction mess. Because it was an arcade game where you could spend real money in order to you could spend real world money in order to make your characters in order to like buy weapons in in-game shops and give more life to your characters. So microtransactions have always been here and they've always been bullshit. This is not a new phenomenon.
But how can you get it to work on the NES? So,
Well, because they never rebalanced the difficulty, so it's just really fucking hard.
Oh, so you're an arcade, okay.
Yeah, because it was originally in the arcade, and then they brought it over to console, and it was just really, really hard, like ungodly hard. That third Double Dragon is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I also thought that like I thought it would like I also this isn't a video game direct thing, but like I thought E3 2008 could have been better
All right, okay.
of Nintendo.
Yeah, yeah. Like, here's the thing. I'm not one of those people who I think that everything Nintendo does, every time Nintendo has a direct, it's great. I think some directs are good, some directs are okay. I would say the only one where I'm like, this is just absolute trash is the one where they showed off Wii Music.
Yeah.
Because Wii Music is terrible. Wii
Yeah, I
Music.
thought it'd be funny if like someone introduced me to E3 and said like, "Oh my God, there's gonna be so many good games." I watch Nintendo's and I'm like, "Wow, this is what E3's about." And
No,
my friend would be like, "No, no, that's they just were unlucky."
no. The thing that makes Wii Music reveal so bad is that, like, they hired people to actually. They had a dude who had a mohawk, like he was fucking cool. Like he was
Yeah.
doing some shit. And I'm like, nah, bruh. Nah. And I'm saying this as someone who actually can play an instrument, a musical instrument. Okay? That's it. Like, I found that insulting. It would be like if you were in if you played an actual instrument, like let's say a guitar, and a dude came up there and said, "Hey man, I got you covered," and he pulls out a rock band thing. Like, what type of bullshit is this? That's basically how I felt when they did that shit with Rock Band. That's where I'm like, okay. I mean, with Wii Music. I thought Wii Music was hot buttered trash, and I stand by that. Like, I know some people are gonna be like, "Oh, don't say that." It's like, nah. And that reveal for Wii Music was shit too. You notice they didn't do that shit again, don't you?
No, they didn't. They didn't.
Yeah, they didn't.
Because they knew it was bad. It's like, this is some bullshit. The idea of Wii Music is cool. The reveal that they did was embarrassing, and they should have been ashamed of themselves.
Deeply.
You know, I know that was Shigeru Miyamoto's baby. He's like, well, I was learning to play an instrument, and I thought people would want to play a game where you played an instrument. It's like, nah, man. Not everything like, here's where, okay, here's something, this is tangentially related to video games. It's fucked up that Eiji Aonuma said that we don't look, when we make video games, we don't look for people who like to play video games. That's like saying we're hiring people to work in our commercial kitchen to make food, but we want people who don't like eating.
Yeah.
That is stupid. I'm sorry. That is a dumb thing to say. And that's how you get some games from, that's how you get games from Nintendo where, like, some games where it's like, why would you add these gameplay mechanics? Because this is stupid. Because the people who made that game don't, they don't value having good gameplay experience. They just want
Paper Mario Sticker Star.
Sticker Star and Color Splash and what was that other one? Paper Jam, not Paper Jam,
Origami King.
Origami King. Oh god, don't get me started with that fucking game. That game was good for the first like 30 minutes, and then there's a point in that game where it just shits the bed. Like, it completely just shits the entire damn bed. It's like, oh, so y'all just don't give a fuck at all, huh? But yeah. For me, a game that I think could have been better, like, it's like it has all of the attributes it needs to be a great game, and it never comes together quite well. I'm gonna say Final Fantasy 12.
Final Fantasy 12, huh?
Final Fantasy 12. Because there's aspects of Final Fantasy 12 where I'm like, this could have been amazing. Like, these are some good ideas in here, but man, the execution. That execution, boy. That that execution is just ugh. And to be honest, like I said, like there are parts of Final Fantasy 12 that are great, but there are parts of it that are just not good. Like for example, Vaughn as the main character is a bad idea because Vaughn is a shitty character. Vaughn is annoying. Like I think that game would have been better if they'd made Balthier the main character.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, if they basically made Balthier and Fran the main characters in Final Fantasy 12 and just not had Vaughn at all, that would have been a better game, in my opinion. And I know some people are gonna get mad. I'm like, oh, don't say that. It's just my opinion. Could be wrong. But yeah, I think that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 could have been a much better game if they had dropped the character who has Poppy as his blade, the artificial blade.
Yeah.
Cause I'm like, dude, you add nothing to this.
Yeah.
It takes a long time for your character to become awesome.
Wait, talking about the main character Rex? Or the...
No, he's talking about the Nopon. I can't remember.
Yeah, I forgot his name, but he creates an artificial blade named Poppy. And it takes literally 2/3 of the game before she gets a form that's really fucking useful. And by that point, you've gotten some of the best blades in the game for your other characters. So it's like, why the fuck do I need you? You're useless. But I mean, this isn't just a Xenoblade Chronicles thing. Like, a lot of RPGs do this where they'll give you a character who it's like, a character who you're in your head, you're thinking, okay, if I try hard enough with this character, they'll become useful. Nah. No, they won't. They tease you that they might become useful, but they never will.
Yeah.
You know, they like because RPGs back in the day were inherently imbalanced. So there were certain characters who were never going to get any better. They were always going to be terrible, and there was nothing you could do about it. They were just going to be bad forever, and ever, and ever, and ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you just dealt with it. It was like, oh, this is a bad character. Okay. Like, for example, right? Chrono Trigger. I love Chrono Trigger, but Marl is a shitty character. Even if you raise her to level 99, her stats suck.
Robo's probably the best healer in the game.
Well, I mean, in terms of just being by himself, he's a great healer because his group heal is really good. But
Robo's kind of... Maybe aside from Chrono, Robo's kind of overpowered.
Here's what I'll say. The most OP characters in Chrono Trigger, aside from Chrono, Chrono has like the highest natural crit rate, and he's got the highest natural speed, which means as an attacker, if you give him a good weapon, he just destroys enemies. In terms of magic, the best magic characters in the game is Luca, Magus, and maybe Robo in terms of magic. Even though Robo technically doesn't have magical abilities, but he can dual tech with almost everyone, so it's like, oh, well, I can kind of sort of use magic a little bit. Now, I'll tell you a character who is fucking useless, and I like Frog because Frog, if you spend the time to level him up enough, Frog can become a fucking beast. And plus he's just like I really do like him as a character. So I have a little bit of bias for that, but Frog is like one of my favorite characters in Chrono Trigger.
AKA Glenn.
I call him Frog. Like cuz they in the thing they're like he's Kiryu. I'm like, "Nah, he's Frog. He'll always be Frog to me."
Yeah.
He's my favorite character, so yeah, I'm a huge fan of Frog. But anyway, yeah, but as I was saying, yeah, Chrono Trigger is one of my favorite games, but it's not perfect. But I mean, like I said, there are just minor things they could have done, like Earthbound. Earthbound would be great if they would like a minor change they could make to make that game even better. Is if every single character in that game was like you had your entire party earlier. That would make the game better because then everyone would be leveling up together. Because you get Pooh in the last third of the game, and it's like, hey, I don't know how to use you at all. you know, RPGs do that a lot, where they add a new character, and it's like, oh, well, you didn't tell me about this character at all. Thanks a lot, asshole. But yeah, let's get to the end of it. So, anyone have any hot takes, unpopular opinions? Nothing.
No, don't. If you don't rely on an industry's tech analysis, when they announced, because two CPUs came out, or one CPU. AMD came out with their CPUs, which have gotten good reviews, but issue is that they run kind of hot under load, and Intel's about to come out with their new CPUs next couple of weeks. One of the things people get caught up on are the tech sheets, like the graphs that they show.
Mm-hmm.
You never trust those.
Yeah, you have to look at independent verification because everyone's going to say their shit is great until, like people who don't have a dog in the fight, who just want a good deal or, a certain level of performance, those are the ones you have to really be like, oh, does this shit measure up? But that's for everything. That's not just like tech. That's cars, that's video games, that's everything.
Yeah.
That's life in general. It's like, oh, does this person, if you're spending a lot of money on something, you better have independent verification or anything really. That's life in general. If there's no independent verification, don't believe it. Okay? Don't believe a book that says I'm the best person in the world, and then you look at the author and it's the person who's saying that they're the best person in the world is the author. It's like, oh, why should I trust you? Of course you're going to think you're the best person in the world. You wrote the fucking book that says you're the best person in the world.
I'm gonna get going now, guys. It was fun.
All right. Give your sign out. What you want to pimp out, your channel, stuff like that, and then we'll call it a day.
Check out my channel, TS and Gamer 2. Bye.
All right. Kanoshi? I guess I got to give my hot take. I got a quick one. My hot take is this. Gamers need to stop being bitches. That's it. Gamers, stop being bitches. Stop listening to whatever any company tells you, because they want your money and nothing else. All right? Yeah. Stop being like, oh, well, they said that this is going to do this. What? They said that this new computer is gonna wipe my ass when I go to the bathroom, tuck me in, and gonna turn into a hot animatronic sex robot that's gonna blow my mind and then tuck me into bed. It's like, don't believe that.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the end of the cast. The next cast will be when? Next Wednesday. Also, I'm gonna try and be in Kanoshi's pre-recorded cast. You're gonna do it tomorrow, right? Or is it Thursday? Or is it Friday? Tomorrow? Okay then. Okay, so that's the end of the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, and just play your games. Don't worry about what other people say. Just play your damn games and enjoy them. Peace.